Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of go over or shed a little bit of light on mortality and what that picture looks like when you're talking about your own self. I don't think people do. Personally, I don't think we do enough discussion on it. We don't talk to our loved ones about it unless kind of our time our window could be limited because of an event, a life event, like a sickness or an accident or even worse, there's that conversation's never had and that accident happens. There's been obviously a lot of there's been a lot of people impacted because of somebody with like a Kobe Bryant. You have a massive scale of someone who inspired millions and millions of people to have this mentality, right? This never quit, go hard mentality, and you almost put this figure of someone who's just untouchable. And obviously, we learned this week that's not the case. And it really at the end of the day, you kind of have to have that discussion of your own mortality, your own impact with people, and what that conversation looks like, and what that conversation and that impact looks like if you're not here anymore, and what you want it to look like. And I don't think people really understand. They don't understand because they don't want to ever have that conversation, because they always kind of put it in this big futuristic time, like, oh well, someday I won't be here, or someday that won't happen. But dude, that someday could be 10 minutes from now. It's no different. My wife wanted to take a life insurance policy out. I'm like, dude, like, I get it, something could happen, but come on, does this need to be done today? And it's really wild, because you just don't think of your own self not being here anymore. And it's really wild, and it's a real gray area, and it's an uncomfortable situation to be in, and it's an uncomfortable conversation to be had with a loved one or whatever, and a spouse or whoever. And you don't want to have that conversation. But it's one that really needs to be had, and it needs to be felt, and you have to understand the impact that it puts on everybody else. So at the end of the day, I think we just have to start having those conversations, what that life would look like without you in it, and have, not necessarily planning for you not to be here anymore, but have that conversation so it's not such a foreign object anymore. Where it's like, hey, listen, we talked about this. I know what he would want. I know what she would want. And it can bring some sort of comfort in knowing that you have a crystal clear plan and crystal clear expectations of what those expectations and what that world would look like, even though it's never going to be normal again. It's never going to be the same. We all know that person in a physical form is never going to be back again. And whatever your beliefs are, if you believe, hey, someone's watching over me, or that's fantastic. But I would encourage people to have that conversation, and I would encourage people to not shy away from that conversation, because at the end of the day, tomorrow's not promised. And I'd much rather know that person's wishes and have my wishes be known. If God forbid something were to happen to myself. So just a couple little thought process there. Get the mind working, and don't be afraid of it. So kind of just some random talk in the truck, just kind of by myself. I just kind of got thinking. So I actually have recorded this probably about 4 separate times, and I don't know why I've never released it, so I'm going to release this one, I believe. I think the timing's right for it. So have a good day. Have a good evening. Cheers, and Godspeed.